Welcome to The Other Dimension with the team, Damon Penny, Ben Winfield, and Louisa Brown. We guide you through the supernatural, the occult, and the unexplained, answering questions that will make you question your grip of reality, with special guests guiding you through everything from demons to divination, cryptids to crystals, religion to skeptics. We explore in depth the true meaning of the unexplained. So strap in, kick back, and enjoy as we enter the other dimension.
Hello everybody and welcome along. It's your Friday night paranormal fix and you're live and direct on the other dimension. And as always, I'm joined by my beautiful co-hosts, Louisa Brown and Ben, who's missing Winfield.
Hello.
He's there somewhere.
Arses.
Yeah, just on sketch glasses.
And tonight we're joined by the Warren Area Paranormal Society. We're going to be speaking with them and finding out what they've been up to. But before we get there, a couple of little things we've got to do before. Some housekeeping. Don't forget, guys, if you want merchandise, or if you want to join us on the Patreon, or if you want to join a 24-hour chat that we have set up, all the links are below. So that's Discord, that's the merch shop, and that is Patreon. Also, don't forget, guys, we've got a lot of things happening in the background. The Patreon, I've now started a weekly conspiracy show, which is just for the Patreoners. So if you want to join them, the link's below. Also, I think Ben's got a show planned this Sunday if he doesn't pull a sickie, but we'll speak to him about that when he gets back from finding his glasses. So, welcome along, Simon. How you doing?
Well, thank you for having me aboard, and I appreciate it. I forgot today was Friday until you just mentioned it. I'm like, Friday? No. So, but just sitting back, enjoying the day. Nice day outside, so I figured I'd let y'all see what the weather is here in little old Warren, PA. Hi, Jeanette.
Hi, Jeanette.
How you doing? Everyone's favourite chat. She's like this show mascot. It's great.
No. But yeah, this is the Allegheny River flowing behind us. Ends up in Pittsburgh, PA.
Nice. It looks beautiful. It really does look amazing.
Long enough, I'm not clouding the scenery.
No. So, Simon, for all the listeners that haven't actually seen you before or come across you, can you explain what you do and what your team does? What?
Are you just calling Simon?
He did.
Yeah.
Simon says,
Have I got that wrong?
It's close enough. Simon, Scott.
God, that's it. Oh my God. Blonde moment on air.
You always
Just
have a
call me
blonde
Mr.
moment, baby.
Fedora.
So, have you? I'm here, guys.
That's my screw up for the evening, so that should be a good show from now on.
Has everyone been introduced?
Hey?
Has everyone been introduced behind us?
No.
No.
2 seconds.
Right, okay.
These are the people that are joining us tonight. Say hello, everyone. As you can see, the bold one at the back.
Yeah, I know it.
So we're on location tonight at Haunted Museum with Stoke. Stoke Hunters of Stoke-on-Trent, as I keep calling them, guys. So, sorry, guys. Unfortunately, you're not aware. You will be heard by 100,000 people. It's just going live on the radio as well.
Did they expect to be on a show?
No, Mr. Fedora. I don't think they've met you, but Mr. Fedora is a brilliant bloke over in America, part of the P3 program.
Yeah, you're too kind.
No.
I'm just a humble guy in a small town.
Yeah, I'll leave you up to it now. I'm just going to disappear.
This is quite. I'm enjoying this. This is quite good. I'm actually taking a step back, and you're hosting for once. This is quite nice.
In my area, our biggest claim to fame that a lot of people know us through is, the St. Louis Arch in St. Louis. The big arch.
Yeah.
That was made here in Warren, Pennsylvania, and delivered.
That's quality.
Yeah.
So let me start this again and get it right. So Scott, for all the listeners that haven't come across you or don't know what it is you do, can you explain to them who you are and what it is your team does?
Yeah, that was asked me once before, and I totally blew it forever ago. I'm Scott Morton, one of the co-founders of Warren Area Society of Paranormal. We're just the basic run-of-the-mill group that does paranormal investigations, from ghost hunting to looking for Bigfoot and UFOs and things along those lines. Other than doing my best not to be mistaken as Bigfoot out in the woods, we really haven't got much but some audio as far as that goes. And we've been in a group for about, this November will be 12 years now.
Wow. That's a long time to be investigating. That is a long time. Do you not find it hard? Obviously, like in the UK, we have specific paranormal groups, and then we have cryptid groups, and we have ufologers or whatever you want to call them. Do you not find it quite hard to sort of transition between the three different ones?
No, not personally. We kind of have the members of the group that prefer to do their own things. Like Jay and Angel, they like to go do the Bigfoot hunting and such. I got lucky to where I was in a haunted camping area and actually started hearing some noises that would be considered, the hooping and such, and we caught that. So that we weren't specifically looking for it. We just right place at the right time. So, and unfortunately, our UFO part is not so much anymore because one of our members passed away who was more into that kind of stuff. So we kind of, we're a group, but we kind of do our own little separate things with that kind of stuff.
That's really cool. That's really cool to have people that have in your team all specific. It's sort of like the way the other dimension works. You see, one who is the blonde one who absolutely F's everything up all the time because I'm stupid. And then you got Ben does all the scientific stuff that makes everyone goes boss-eyed. And Lou's the only normal one. She does all the divination. So it's quite cool when you've got different people that specialize in different aspects.
Well, having a variety is definitely great. Not even just in our interests, just our backgrounds and religion beliefs and things like that are extremely different, but we somehow become cohesive and a wonderful group. I couldn't imagine doing this with very many other people other than, the occasional collaboration. But I have to say one thing, though, is Mr. Consultant is grounded. I thought he said he was going to take a break from the social media aspect today.
Yeah, big shouts out to Matt Barron, at Jeanette Bean, at Kathy, out to Annette. Loads of people locked in tonight. Don't forget, guys, if you've got any questions for Scott, not Simon, for Scott, all you got to do is stick it up there in the chat. Oh my God, look at that thing in the background. Guys,
it was a spectral visit.
Yeah, there's a really ugly ghost just behind your right shoulder.
It's like watching a horror movie. Watch out, guys.
Could I just comment and just say it's really nice that Ben gets his hair cut to do a public performance, but won't get it done.
I actually had planned on getting a haircut today, but my work ran over, so I couldn't make my appointment. So next time you guys see me, I'll be a little less shaggy.
And we are going to see you a lot more on the show. I'm looking to get you guys in the US. Me and Ben have been talking about more because it's great to have that we call it a cross pond friendship because you guys, it's nice to have that because a lot of the argument is that, you have this argument, the UK is more haunted than the US, but the US more, and it's all like, UK's got more history, yeah, but the US has had more. I don't think so. I think that they're both equally as haunted. And I think that by the whole thing that P3 are doing, by collaborating with other teams and us sharing our evidence and stuff like that, it's just helping everybody to sort of go for that smoking gun.
Definitely. And I find that I find that you guys seem to have a unique way of going about things that we don't necessarily have here. You guys seem to be more uniformed as far as groups. You're more cohesive, where groups here seem to be like they work well with each other, but we don't have that organization like you guys have.
Yeah,
Or
but
seem
to be
to have.
fair, a lot of American groups will run into a building, scrap demon, and run back out.
Oh, yeah, we've ran into a few of those, but one thing I will say is that not every case is a demon. There's not a demon behind every doorknob, you know.
Yeah.
I
I don't
know.
know.
You have sack bagans. There's enough demons everywhere for you.
I don't know about you guys, but do you? And I don't mean to take over asking questions, but over there, do you guys find a lot of reports of demonic places, or like when you're contacted?
Not really.
No.
No.
Oh, I swear to God, every case we start off with, and no disrespect to anybody, but every case that comes our way, everybody's like, "Oh, it's dark and evil and demonic in nature," and we're like, "No, we're pretty sure that if you tighten up a few screws in your basement, you'll get rid of that knocking noise."
So don't worry, guys. This isn't going to be your talk on demonology, right?
Thank you, Raymond. I appreciate that.
I mean, I've had a lot of. I mean, it's slowed down a lot recently, but I had a lot of cases that come through where people seem to think that it's demonic, and it turns out that it's not. The main thing that keeps coming through is like a family member that's pretty damn pissed off with them, I suppose. Like, it's, I mean, Ben, you understand. It's a fine line between something that's mischievous or nasty and demonic. And
Very
I'm
true.
not being funny. You've had hundreds of cases, and I've had about 2. And and that seems to be completely 100% demonic.
You know what? You're destroying my chat. I'm going to be in detail. Yeah, I've had, what we had, 258 cases, 59 cases, and 6 of them have been what I'd class as sort of demonic. And I'm currently sat in a building with number 6 being in the opposite room from him.
I was right there. I thought you were going to say you had you had over 200 cases of demonic. I'm like, whoa.
I've had 73 cases so far, and out of all them, I've only had 1 true demonic, and that case was sent to me by Ben. So, so
yeah, but to be fair, I've had mine all over the world as well.
Yeah. Just a big shout out to Kathy Adams. She's saying, thanks to people like Ben and Damon, there are a lot less demons and more mischievous hauntings. Thank you, Kath. But your opinion is slightly biased. Slightly.
Well, I feel that most people, when they report that as demonic in nature, they truly are just scared, and that's why they're putting that out there. I don't think they mean to mislead anybody or whatnot. I just believe that's what they watch movies and these television shows and such, and so in their minds they see these knockings and such, and so that makes them believe that it's worse than what it is.
Yeah, I definitely agree, 100%. And like we spoke with this with Matt a couple of weeks ago, where we were talking about how Hollywood and TV programs have affected people's change towards hauntings. You know, back in the like 60s, 70s, 80s, they were more sort of, we don't know what it is. Whereas nowadays, with the introduction of Hollywood, it goes straight for that. Like we talk about how demons have trends. You know, when did The Conjuring 2 come out? Loads of cases of Valak. You know, we've got The Exorcist coming out very soon, so there's going to be a lot of cases of. Is it Ball or is it Mo? I think it's Ball, isn't it?
No,
generally fall.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff makes good things in the fall, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, it is what it is. You know, that's what we're there to do. You know, you guys at the Warren Area Society, that's what you do. You know, you go in, you investigate. That's what we do. We go in and investigate, and we don't judge people, which is the way you have to be. You know,
we have a saying in our group that pretty much it might not be real to us, but it's real to them. So let's treat it as such. And so
Yeah.
we go into every case. We go into every case as if we're going to dissect it and find the root cause of everything. But we believe when they say, "Hey, we have a dancing skeleton going across our closet floor," we go and set up as if that's going to be the case. And then we find out, a lot of times in situations like that, it's higher EMF fields and such. So, and then, of course, occasionally you get the those that want to fake evidence.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen very often, but it does happen.
We all have skeletons in our closets. Everyone does.
Well, the probably the worst one I've gotten in our history of faking stuff was after we went to their home and there was nothing going on. High EMF. So, and we said that's probably a good reason why most things are happening to you. After that, we just started getting stuff just totally fake sent to us, getting back hold of us, and it just started to become a tough situation where we finally had to say, well, thank you, but we're going to have to step away from this.
Yeah, and I agree. There has to come a point where you do sort of go, you know what, I can't help you no longer. I've got an ongoing case at the moment where the guy's got some really interesting stuff happening, like some really good evidence there, but I can't physically say if it is paranormal or not without investigating myself. And he's pushing and pushing to try and get me to sort of say that it is, so he can sort of put it out there. And every time I give him the answer he doesn't want, it's always the same old splurge. So I've sort of gone, that's enough now. You're going to have to find someone else who's more gullible to deal with it. So
more like-minded is what I like to say.
Yeah.
It's a little more politer. Now, do you guys have a group that you're connected with that's kind of geographically closer to you guys, where if you're not getting something and somebody truly believes there's something going on, that you could hand off, say, you guys go in and see what you get and see if maybe something doesn't like us and runs away, or
Yeah. We us at the Other Dimension, we sort of cover the south and the north of England. Like Ben has a lot of teams that he works with up north. I have a lot of teams that I work with down south.
So you have a good network.
Yeah. So if anything happens, I run my own team as well as Lou and Ben sort of help out with Supernatural as well. So we've got that sort of that way where we can pass it off or we can go and investigate ourselves. So it works very well. It does work really, really well. The whole scenario.
Usually it's teams, they'll contact us when they've been investigating somewhere and they don't really know what's going on, so they'll contact us to go in and check it out for them.
Well, when you become prominent in the field, you'll find that, I see. Locally, we're starting to get that coming towards us because we've been around for so long, and people kind of learned that we're not the flashy, check this stuff out. We just do what we do. And, actually for social media, we're quite boring because 80-90% of our stuff we don't put out because people don't want that.
Yeah, no, we're the same. We don't put stuff. I mean, me, Lou, and Ben, we don't put stuff out unless we're 100% behind it. You won't find post every day after post after post. I mean, you'll find things that we can stand behind. Like you were saying, you don't put out 80% of your stuff because you're still unsure in it. We would only put things like articles or talks or random people dressed as Vikings doing readings. We would only put that up if
that's a Saturday night here.
So, yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, Scott, with all the cases you've been on, what one sort of stands out in your mind?
Oh, there's several, but what are you thinking as far as
what is the one case that's always been there? Because every detective has that one case that they always go back to and they always look over the notes for. What's that one case for you?
Well, let me put a couple out. The one that surprises a lot of people around here that is actually active would be our mall. That's one when people say, well, what's the most haunted place around here? And I said, well, I don't know about the most haunted, but the one that surprises most people is our local mall, because it's not the building itself, but the property it was on. It started off as, like a lot of places around here, as farmland, and the owner would actually beat his farm help when he got drunk, to the point where he would pay them to knock him out. If he got to be too drunk, he'd give him a little bonus to knock him out and put him to bed. But so that was the start of it, and we actually got an audio recording, an EVP, what sounded like an old time shotgun being reloaded, a lever action. That was kind of neat. And then it went on to a local refinery where they had storage tanks and things like that. And there was an orphanage close by, and they'd hire the kids from the orphanage because it was at that time acceptable. And at some point before it got shut down, there was a major fire, and some of the kids perished there.
Okay.
And so, and then it went on, and there was some deaths afterwards. Some kids drowned into a river that's connected to this one that runs behind the mall. So there's running water there too on the property. And so we've gotten, I worked there for a while, and we gotten things from, like I said, with the EVP of the shotgun being reloaded, lever action repump. Two, we got kids coming over the spirit box, and we could hear like children's laughter and such. Now the neat thing about there was, like I said, I worked there, and so I got to know the maintenance people, and they let us kind of come in after night, and I hooked the spirit box up to the PA system to run it through the whole mall.
Oh, nice.
Now that was interesting. Pump the place full of all that energy. And one of the stores there, I don't know if you guys remember Kmart.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
A department store. They would I'd go there the next day for whatever reason, and some of the people that worked there knew me. They'd be like, "You were here messing around again last night, weren't you?" Like, why do you say that? And they said, "Well, because the couple of spirits in our store gets active after you guys have been here." So that's probably our most entertaining and the one that I tell most people local, because to them, it's like the mall. Why would that be haunted? And then I explain the history. Now, a little bit of a more darker side would be there's an abandoned factory that's in our town that used to make machine gun parts. I'm not sure which part, but one of them for military use. And and so we were there several times, and we'd get things like, getting out of the corner of our eyes, we'd catch shadows or something, But it seemed like a pretty safe place to be for the most part. So so we got pretty comfortable there. And until the last time we were there, that is. I'm trying to think through the process of like about 6-7 investigations being there. Yeah. But pretty much towards the end, one of the things that we've been trained to look out for is for things getting dark, as in, like, we start looking to see if the group is getting separated. Like, are we splitting off into our own little sections? Are emotions running high? Are we getting angry? Are we getting, just general unnormal behavior of our group? And that started going on, and I looked around. I noticed everybody was getting kind of angry and snippy towards each other. The atmosphere was very oppressive and heavy. It went to, like, how it's dark at night, general darkness. Well, this just got like a dense darkness where you couldn't even see shadows anymore. It was just dark in this factory. And at that point, I was like, you know what? We're calling it good. We're stopping now. We're out. Because something was definitely trying to affect us and get us fighting and so forth. So those are some things you look for. I'm sure you guys are aware of that. But the separation, the fighting, the tense emotions, you start running into that. If you don't have somebody with you that could deal with it, it's best just to walk away.
Yeah, I agree, definitely.
So,
I mean, I've been,
sorry if that was a little long-winded.
no, it's good. It's an engrossing story. I've been through times where, like you said, things get really, really dark, and you look at the way people behave. I know that Ben and Lou have been out, and they've had that happen a few times. You bet, haven't you, Lou?
Yeah.
I know Ben's on the missing, but
Ben wandered off. He's something's happened. He's probably seen something. I don't know. So yeah, he went skipping out the room.
Well, I don't think you realize until you're in that situation that, you hear people say, oh, it got dark. Oh, this happened. It's you hear it and you understand it, but until you've been there, it's like, oh, okay, this is totally different. But
Yeah,
in the same
happened
place,
to us
we
the other
had,
week.
huh?
As I say, it happened to us the other week. We went to look at a location that we'd heard rumours that there was a spirit there and that was possibly trapped. And we went there and we were walking down the path, and then suddenly the front of the path just clouded over, like really quite dark, but in an unnatural way. And you look behind and it's lighter, and it gets just an area of darkness, and you approach with caution.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. And it's weird. I mean, even sitting here thinking about it, it sounds weird for me to explain, but now the same place, how comfortable we got in the place, we actually auctioned off some tickets for charity to bring people into the building and kind of do a ghost hunt for charity, pretty much. And and I bring this up because, one, show that we were pretty comfortable, and two, little joke, little humor on my end was, I'm supposed to be a professional doing this, and so we're all in the ladies' room. There's like 8 of us or whatever, and I figure we're done in there, and everybody's walking out. I figure I'd be the last one out to be, because I'm one of the ones running the place, running the investigation. So I'm looking in the mirror, and I believe everybody's out, and so I turn around. And I thought there's this full body apparition, like solid as could be there. I like jumped and kind of gave and the unfortunate woman that stayed behind, I don't know why she did, but she did. She got the start of her life because I'm and she's It was quite the moment.
That's the thing. People have to understand that even though you're a demonologist, you research occultology, you have your team, you go out investigating, it still doesn't stop the element of surprise from happening. Right. I was at North Weald Redoubt Fort, which is about 10 minutes drive from my house. It's an old abandoned fort that was like a leftover place where they used to keep the auxiliary RAF fighters during the Second World War. And me and my brother were there just scouting it out during the day, and this pigeon just flew out from nowhere, and I screamed like a girl. I actually screamed like a girl.
You'll be doing a lot of that next week, though, and don't worry.
Yeah.
You didn't have it recorded, did you?
Yeah, it's live on Facebook. So everyone can see how human I really am.
Right, guys, we're going to leave you there because obviously we're going to get a talk for these guys because they're sat here patiently with it, watching this show. And
I appreciate them watching. So before you leave, what are you guys doing? I kind of understand, but I didn't quite.
Tonight we're going to be running them through demonology, cultology, giving them a breakdown of pretty much everything.
This location we're at now, and then followed by an investigation.
Cool.
Sounds like a wonderful night. Too bad I'm too far away. I got an email once forever ago. It's been a few years. I'm sure you guys are aware or have heard me say that I drive a city bus through Sheffield, Pennsylvania, which is named after Sheffield, England, like a few places in the States. But I got an email saying there was a ghost hunt going on that night. And I'm like, getting excited. Like, I didn't hear nothing about it. I hear about most things in my area. I'm like, I was free. I had some extra spending money. It sounded like a perfect situation. And then when I started looking through the email, it was over there in your area. I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to make it in time. Like 2 hours away. Or the time it started was 2 hours from when I got the email. I'm like, So I think I ended up at McDonald's and very
I'll tell you what, Mr. Fedora, when we start on another location that we've got down here as well, we'll take you on a guided tour.
Sounds wonderful. I'll hold you through that.
Right, so guys, so we're going to leave you there.
Have a good one, man.
Right, Damon, last time that we were talking to Scott, we were on for 2 hours.
Was we?
No, it was a
quite
really good
enjoyable.
conversation, though. It was really good and really fun.
I can't stand for 2
My
hours.
answer's still on.
And someday we'll have to do that again.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Actually, I don't mean to keep stopping you guys. Matt was just talking about a year ago. We did a kind of a sit down with several teams, and we just had some drinks and BS for a few hours. You guys interested? Let us know.
Yeah, definitely.
Just sit back and knock back a few drinks, and whatever happens, happens. Have a good night,
See you
guys.
guys on Sunday for my show. Get ready for it.
Oh, God.
The quantum mechanic bit is completely over at the minute for about a week. I'm still burning through research with one of my friends on it. So don't worry. The Egyptian stuff is going to start as well. I've managed to get in contact, trying to get in contact with an old friend of mine, but he's busy organising the museum in Cairo now. So that'll be it. So see you guys Sunday from me and Lou. And we'll leave
Enjoy
you
the rest of the show.
See you later, guys.
Bye, guys.
Right. So, just me and you now, Scott.
Just the two of us.
Just the two of us. Let's just see.
I'm sorry about that.
That's fine, mate. We've got some comments. Big shouts out to the the Stoke Hunters of Ghost on Trent. Big shouts out to Net and out to Kathy. Yeah, I mean, when we was talking about before, now I know, because I have my own team, I know the sort of equipment you'll use if you're going out to search for the paranormal, like ghosts and spirits. So how do you tackle, what equipment do you use if you're going out looking for, say, Bigfoot or UFOs?
Well, UFOs, I don't have a lot of experience in. That's really more, well, there's a few ways that I can think of. Is you keep going by local conversation. You know, there's a group called MUFON, F-U, Mutual UFO Network, which is getting big nowadays. You could kind of start digging through some of their public stuff and such, and just kind of hope to be in the right place at the right time. But for the most part, it's a lot of taking notes and just basic cameras, and and hopefully you have some kind of way to record it if you come across it. There's somebody local here that I need to reconnect with. He says that pretty much every time he goes to this place, it's by the Kinzu Dam, and he seems to have a lot of activity. So, and hello from Texas. But for the most part, there's really not a lot of equipment that I'm aware of. EMF detector, I believe, would be something to bring to pick up any electromagnetic fields. I seen Ghost Stop, the website, actually just last several months switched over to a second website called you can find it on the ghoststop.com page, but it's dedicated to UFO equipment. So something you could check into. But for the most part, like for Bigfoots, I know that some people bring out like loudspeakers and such to try to rebroadcast the knocks and the howls that are out there and such. But outside of that, just night vision cameras and such for them, trail cams,
Okay. That sounds cool. I mean, for my own personal research now, because I've got you here and you've been out there looking for Bigfoot, right? Now, I get a lot into, as much as I get into demonology and occultology, I get into conspiracy a lot. And I've come across a map which was to do with the missing 411, people that go missing in the national parks over there. And this map was overlaid with the sightings of Bigfoot, and they seem to correlate together.
Oh, really?
Yeah, quite significantly. And then if you cross that, there's another map that goes over the top of that, which shows the missing 411s, the big sightings, and ley lines that sort of correlate together as well. I mean, what's your take on that?
Well,
and I'm putting you on the spot here, but I just
it's a site that I never heard of. But I mean, some of it I kind of wonder if it's kind of like what's that old kids game called Telephone or something like that, where one person starts off with a story, second person kind of puts their little spin on it and so forth. So I wonder if that's about 70% of the sightings that you'll see together.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I don't think that, I believe that the Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever you want to call them, I believe they tend to stay in one general area. So there might be a lot of truth to the sightings as well. Now, as far as ley lines go, that could go in with the theory that they almost go through portals to go from one side to the other.
Yeah.
To travel around. That they might be using the energy of ley lines for that.
Yeah. It goes on the theory of like Bigfoot. There's a lot of people that believe Bigfoot is an interdimensional being more than a cryptid, in the sense of it's more of a spiritual creature rather than it being an actual Sasquatch. And
that's what I believe a lot of Native Americans believe that, where they're more spiritual beings than true cryptid. Now, as far as not finding the bodies or bones, there's a lot of animals out there that will bury their bones and such in the woods that you won't come across normally. So that makes me wonder if that's kind of the same situation where, well, even for humans, we bury our bones and such for lack of being, to put it right out there. But so that could be the situation. Or maybe as they get older, they if they are dimensional beings, they take them to wherever existence they stay in.
Yep, I agree with that. I mean, I've always been under the impression of Bigfoot being less of a cryptid and more interdimensional. There are theories that Bigfoot is a time traveler, and that's why it's been seen so many times. It's one creature that's able to time travel. There's lots of theories behind Bigfoot,
Yeah.
But one thing I know for sure is I've heard the recordings of. You must have heard the Bigfoot recordings where you can hear it calling that, and that to me is very, very good evidence, because there's no other sound that sounds like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. Around here, there's a lot of people that hunt, and I've spoken to some old timers about the different sounds and such that's been out there, because I drive city bus, so I meet a lot of people, and a lot of them say no, there's no animals around here that makes that noise. So and we get quite a few reports of sightings here.
Yeah.
That TV show, maybe it's Finding Bigfoot with what's the one guy's name, Boba or something like that. Anyway,
when it comes to cryptids, I'm very shadowed when it comes to cryptids, because I don't really know much. It's one of them areas of the paranormal that I've never really sort of explored myself.
Well, that TV show came not too far from here because of all the reports of Bigfoot and such. Like I said, I think I got lucky. We weren't looking for it, but we were in a little camping area just outside of Warren, where our one founder, Lee, had a paranormal experience before I even met him. And so we went back there to kind of see what we could come up with, and we went during the day to kind of get a layout of the area and such. And next thing you know, it was me and my girlfriend. Everybody else was at work, and it kind of got like this eerie, like, you ever been in a place where you feel like out in the woods or whatever, where all of a sudden it just gets really like dense air and such. We started getting that, and we didn't hear the wildlife, and all of a sudden we started hearing what we almost sounded like a I'm trying to think of what's a good comparison. It wasn't the normal the high pitched hooting that you hear from
Yeah.
when people report it, but it wasn't too far off from it. Kind of like it was kind of like calling out to see where something like a prey might be or something. Not that I felt we were
Yeah.
in any danger, but and so it would send out that howl. And then about 5 minutes later, well, not even 5 minutes, a minute or two later, slightly in a different location, we'd hear it again. And finally, I was like, look, we don't have nothing to defend ourselves, to protect ourselves. It's time for us to leave. And we got about good quarter-mile away from where we were, and everything just went back to normal.
Crazy. That's crazy. Big shouts out to Kate. Don't worry about being late. It's always it's fine. It's fine. We're used to it now in UK. It's fine.
It's becoming a running gag, huh?
Yeah. So with all right, moving away from the old Bigfoot thing, with all the investigators I have on the show, I always ask them the same question. It's just something that I'd like to get a major opinion of from everybody, because everyone has their own opinion of it. So what do you think about using apps on the phone to try and find ghosts or spirits?
Yeah, I'm kind of like most people. I'm a little hesitant, though. Phones nowadays have a lot more sensors than what they used to. Like the old flip phones and such had no kind of sensors, where nowadays they got the gyroscope and all that dealt with it. But with any kind of equipment or tools of the trade, if I could use that coin of term, you just got to take the evidence you have and see if it fits the situation. Because an app could be totally useless, but somehow the spirit that's in that spot at that time might know how to manipulate it and use it for that time. And 100 other times it'll never work again the same way.
Yeah, no, I agree. One of the guys that we had on a little while ago from one of the teams, he explained how he used the vibration sensor on the phone. So we had an app that records the vibrations, and you put that on the table if you've got knocking and stuff like that. See, I understand using it in that sense.
See, have you ever used that?
No, I haven't.
It was $3. It was designed by Huff Paranormal guy, and I didn't have a lot of faith in it. And for what it is, it's kind of like it uses a bank of pre-recorded speech that runs backwards, and the spirits are supposed to be able to manipulate it to go in the right direction. Well, now I was using it in a abandoned poorhouse, they call them here, not quite in a mental asylum, but where people that were desolate and things like that were at. But anyways, I was using it there. They had a chapel there, a little church area for them to go on Sunday and such, and people reported hearing bells and the organ playing and such, and so we went down to this church and we were having a little session. I turned that on to go, and with this app, it actually records not only the conversation going on with the app, the language being spoken, but it also records ambient sound, what's going on around you. And we actually picked up church bells going. Wow. Not because of the app being ghost hunting, but it used a microphone to record what was going on.
That's cool.
So it was useful in that situation.
Yeah.
Now here's an app that a lot of people don't think about using. I use quite regular on investigations is Google Speech. There's a conversation section where if you're trying to have a conversation with somebody in a different language, I would speak English, and then you can translate it to whatever, and it would listen for the other person to speak, say, Italian, and then it would translate it to English.
Yeah, sorry, 1 second. Sorry. I'm looking after Mum's two cats, and they're very mischievous.
You're fine. So
I agree. There are certain times that you can use certain apps, and I always see it as, all the ghost hunting equipment that's out there, it's all been manipulated to be used for hunting spirits. They're not specifically designed to hunt spirits. It's old technology that's been revamped or back engineered to be used within this, when you're hunting spirits or chasing ghosts.
Well, like I was saying with Google Translate, not very many people think, well, yeah, that could be used for that. But think about it. You say here we have a large history of Amish and such that would speak Pennsylvania Dutch, and the app actually uses that. And so I will, ask how you're doing and let it translate to that. I also use Latin, just throw that out there to see. And we were in one place that we weren't really getting a lot of activity until I used Latin. And I put it out there, and all of a sudden I noticed the EMF detector started going off. And so we started talking a little more. And it got to the point where one of our team members, their son brought over some batteries because they only lived a few blocks away. Our batteries were getting drained. And he has I'm not going to say his name, but he has a very unique name. It's not like Scott or Simon or whatever, but it's very unique. Only one. I never met anybody with the same name. And it actually said his name after he left.
Wow. See, that's a cool bit of evidence, because that's one of them times where you can turn around and you can go, do you know what? That is like 1,000,000 to 1 chance. So Kate asked, she said, what about the Spirit Box or the Alice Box, sorry?
I never used an Alice Box, or I'm not sure what that is. Spirit Box, yeah, I've used them. I tend to use them a little more than the other members. The other members don't like it because it gives them a headache.
Yeah.
But I used the original. I think it was called the SB7 box.
Yeah.
And now I have the dual Spirit Box.
Oh, the 11.
Yeah, I believe that's what it is.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the truth. I like the old one, the just one, a lot better. Probably about the most entertaining response I've gotten on that was back at the mall. Me and one of the workers there were kind of goofing around, maintenance workers, in an old storefront that was closed down, and I started hollering out. Well, not hollering, but just saying, "Hey, why don't you come out here and take a picture with us, and come be on camera?" And we get just these 2 words over the Spirit Box. Well, it wasn't even words; it was letters. F you. I'm like, well, okay, that's good enough.
Sense of humor, man. You cannot beat a spirit with the sense of humor. I'll tell you that now.
And what's the odds of that being coming over a radio station at that particular time?
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. Yeah, I mean, I love all the technology. There's certain ones that I use. My team are more old school based. We use pendulums. We use talking boards. We use divination rods. But you can't beat your own senses when you're out in investigation. 100%. Your body will tell you when something's happening.
Right. I got a little jumping spider trying to come visit. Last time I was out here, a butterfly flew right through the screen.
I love a bit of wildlife. Can't be a bit of wildlife. So, another question that I like to ask all the investigators, and it is quite a common question to ask. I mean, if you had an unlimited budget and they said you can go anywhere in the world and you can investigate for one night and one night only, where would it be?
I don't have no true one location, as in like Dracula's castle or that type of situation. I wouldn't mind going over like Scotland or Ireland and visiting some of the older castles that might be a little less known. Where you happen to go to a restaurant or whatever, and you hear people say, "Oh no, you have to check this place out." I'd like to do something like that. Is the wind starting to get too loud, or?
No, it's fine. I can still hear you.
I'm gonna blow away here.
I think you've got a tornado warning coming.
Right, no doubt. Yeah, we get some tornadoes, but it's not too bad. It's been cooperating this whole time, but we'll get back to that question. But I find it entertaining that a local lore around here is there's a group of, for lack of better terms on my end, a group of witches that pray every so often, or well, I guess they don't pray, but they do their chants or whatever to
Yeah.
put like a bubble around us to protect us from adverse weather.
All right.
And you know, I kind of chuckle, but then again, I sit back and I think, yeah, we get tornadoes and we get bad weather kind of around us, but never truly in our area. It's always, you know, we might get some high winds and such, but for the most part, we don't get nothing too crazy. Though I feel bad for one guy who was walking his dog and we got some heavy winds and a tree branch fell and killed him about 2 years ago.
Oh.
I mean, I don't mean to laugh, but it's like, I can see that being my luck.
Yeah.
Because it was a freak storm. It came out of nowhere. It wasn't predicted. It was like 3% chance of storm hitting, and all of a sudden, boom.
Crazy.
Speaking of trees, I guess I better watch out.
Yeah. It is
But
crazy. I mean, all in all, investigating itself has changed a lot. I mean, you said yourself, you've been doing this for 12 years. And we, as investigators, I've been investigating since I was 20 and I'm 34, so that's 14 years. I've been doing demonology for 9. It's crazy how things have changed, how people's opinions have changed, and how it's made it easier. I mean, do you agree? Do you think it's made it easier with the new modern sort of look at the paranormal?
I think it's getting played out. I think it got. I believe there will still be dedicated teams. Like our team will be around for who knows how long. We don't plan on ending anytime soon that I'm aware of. But but I think the mainstream popularity of it, other than saying going to Waverly Hills or places like that, I think it's pretty much played out. I think it's hitting down on the curve. But I will say that I'm trying to remember where I was going with that. But I do believe in a lot of ways it's easier. We're not looked at as like either admired or crazy as much as we used to, and it allowed a lot of teams to form. It got saturated with a lot of teams, I believe.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I do agree. I mean, the uptake of Hollywood and these ghost hunting shows now, you can go on Amazon and type in, you know, paranormal, and the amount of teams that pop up all of a sudden, it's just crazy. But I also find as well, I get the whole, you know, entertainment purposes thing we spoke about with Matt, talking over at P3, and I get that. But I think if you go sort of independent, if you go on YouTube and you watch like videos of your team or my team or the teams that we sponsor here on the Other Dimension, you can learn a lot and you can get to that point where you are confident to go out. So there's ups and downs to the whole, you know,
Well,
public eye thing, I suppose.
and I think you could quickly learn on what YouTube videos and such are for entertainment and which ones are for truly loving the field per se. Because like say some of the popular YouTubers like Sam and Colby,
Yeah,
they do a lot. They go to a lot of nice places, but they're really entertainment. You don't learn so much except they got some neat stuff to play with. Teams like ours, you know, we'll sit and we'll explain something real quick if it's new, or you know, like why we did this and why we did that, or why we shouldn't, you know, always have the camera facing the door of the room, so you'll debunk the camera moving or something going on by somebody leaving the room. You could, you know, so as we're setting up and doing stuff, people can learn that way. So yeah, there's a lot of good with that and a lot of bad. It all depends on how well you pay attention for what's entertainment, what's real. Like I learned even from movies though, like probably some of my cheapest equipment that I've had, it comes from the Conjuring, I believe, either the first one or the second one, where they tied bells on a string and put it on the doorknob. I'm like, well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I watched that and I had that idea, and I thought, you know what? You're going out and paying £120 for a bit of electronic equipment, which can do it can do great things, but nothing beats the old school with the bell on the handle, or the walking around asking questions and recording an EVP. Nothing beat these sort of things, and that's what I love about it. And as I know you were saying about things going on a downwards curve with like people's interest in the paranormal, but I think with guys like you and Matt and all the guys that are in the P3 team, like the Other Dimension joined now with the P3 along with my team and the teams that we sponsor, I think, in the words of Justin Timberlake, I think we're bringing sexy back. I think paranormal is coming, forefront again.
You think it's coming full circle?
Yeah, I think so. I think everything runs in circles. A circle is universally the most used symbol.
Very true.
And I think things do run in full circles. I mean, the only way I could compare it to is the fact of back in the late 80s in the UK, we had this massive rave phase where people going out in tie-dyed T-shirts and dungarees. Nowadays, we fast forward, everyone's going out in tie-dyed shirt and dungarees again. So things do travel in full circles, I think.
And it's funny you bring that up. I'm not looking to tie-dye shirts, but I am bringing something. I'm going to try to bring something back that was a thing in the 90s. Hold on 1 second, please.
Yeah. Bless you.
No, allergies are big around here. Pollen. I got a black car and it's green from all the pollen just falling on it. So every once in a while, I get a little tickle. Not COVID, people, and you can't catch it through the screen anyway, so you're safe. But yeah, my car, like, I gotta wash every other day because it's green from pollen. But so I was saying, you were talking about tie dyeing shirts and such, and I'm looking into how to dye shirts to have that color changing to it. Where it goes from heat, it changes colors. Making some fun group shirts with that.
No, I mean, it's cool. I mean, things do come around full circle. But, I mean, we're getting towards the end of the show. So I want to give you an opportunity to tell everybody about, like, if your team's Facebook page, if you've got any events coming up. The floor.
There's one thing that I was going to bring up, though, because you've mentioned P3 a few times, which is an excellent program and it's doing well. Mm-hmm. But what's your thoughts on the whole Para-Unity? Now, my personal, and this is where me and Matt kind of disagree a little bit.
Yeah,
I believe it's really depends on geographical location. The closer the teams are, less cohesive they are.
I agree. In the UK, Para-Unity is a fallacy. It's all competition from teams over here, and the reason why the Other Dimension and the teams that we sponsor joined P3 is because we do believe in Para-Unity, even though over here it's dog eat dog over here with the paranormal teams. But
I'm wearing milk bone underwear.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And it's just such a fallacy. And I just think we're all going after the same question. We're all trying to answer the same question. So we all should be on the same book. And that's the reason why we joined. As much as, people go, oh, Para-Unity is dead in the UK and that. And I do believe it does depend on geographical location. It really does. But if we can take that step forward first and show people that Para-Unity exists, hopefully it will lead people in the same direction.
Well, yeah, somebody has to take that first step. And I believe it works. Or I believe it. This program has been doing wonderful. Your program, as well as P3, is doing wonderful and giving me more faith in it. Now, with that being said, there is another local group that we do well with, but then again, there was another group that threatened to sue us for our name. So, yeah. I mean, it's hit and miss as well. But
and backstabbing, unfortunately, it is true. But look, we've come to the end of the show. What I'll do is, when we finish the show, I will put the link up for the Warren Area Paranormal Society underneath or above this video link, so you can go and visit and see what them guys are doing, because they're doing big things. Great bit of evidence. I've checked out the page. Some really cool things going up there. So, guys, you've got to go out and check that. Definitely.
I definitely appreciate that. Yes, most of our stuff you can find either through Warren Area Society of Paranormal, and I think there's one or two that's just simply WASP of Warren. I think our TikTok's Wasp Warren. So if you find it, just don't look it up under just Wasp, because you're going to find all kinds of fascinating stuff that you don't want to see. If you're lucky, you just find either us or the music group.
Yeah.
Blackie Lawless hasn't contacted us, so we're okay as far as that goes. But the rest of the content is Lil. And I just seen that we're talking about going to Scotland. I was Ghost Hunters said, "Come on over." Sorry about the chat, but yeah. Anything, if you look it up under Warren Area Site Paranormal, most stuff you'll either find us, or our greatest competition is Ed and Lorraine Warren. They just like kill us on the search team. But so I appreciate having me on. It's been great.
I appreciate having you as a guest. It's been great talking to you. We are going to arrange more where you come on and live, and we're going to try and get Matt on, and you guys we all can get together and have just brainstorm and just not have a subject and just talk. That's what I would like to do.
Well, like I was saying with us last year with a couple of great groups, we just sat back and had a little fire. Who had the ability? We had fires going, and I drank some bourbon myself. Matt, I think, had beer and such. So if you guys want the details, we'll give it to you. And
definitely, man. Here's
everybody was live in their own way, so it was a great night, and I'm happy I remembered the whole night.
We'll look forward to that one, guys. But unfortunately, we run out of time. Don't forget, guys, catch me, Ben, and Lou down in Walsall in September, where we'll be doing a talk about demonology and demons as other dimensional beings. If you want information on that or tickets, head over to facebook.com/TOD Paranormal. If you want the exclusive shows, head over to patreon.com. Catch my conspiracy show over there, along with loads and loads of other stuff. And don't forget, Supernatural are live tonight, 9 p.m. UK. Check them out on Facebook. But from me here in the studio, and from Mr. Scott over there in the USA, we're going to say bye.
Stay spooky, my friends.
Yeah, keep it spooky. And don't forget, guys, if there is no other explanation,